Welcome back, everybody. My name's APrater54, aka Adam, coach of the McChesney Park Slowpokes, and today I bring you my Season 2 VDL Searing Shot Draft Analysis. This is, for people that don't know, is a Series 10 VGC. So, it gets very interesting. There's a lot of good teams in this league. There's a lot of good drafts that were done. And I look forward to introducing you guys to the team. Right now this is blank. But round number 1, I got Urshifu Single Strike. Being able to just mow through Protect and putting that much pressure on my opponent is absolutely insane. This thing might be ×4 weak to Fairy, weak to Fighting, and weak to Flying, but it's actually worth it for what it can do. This gets access to close combat. Wicked Blow always crits. This gets access to bulk up. I believe it gets access to coaching as well, so I can boost my ally. This gets Poison Jab, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch. I'm not sure it gets Fire Punch, but if it does, that's absolutely insane. And yeah, you bring this in and you're just able to crit through your opponent's berries, crit through their Protect, Detect, King Shield. That's absolutely insane. That's what I took round 1. I was pick number 10, I believe, out of 24. Round 2 is where it got interesting. I picked up Serena. I wanted to make myself immune to priority, which is what Queenly Majesty does. The only thing that turns off Queenly Majesty is neutralizing gas, which makes Wheezing and Galar Wheezing so good. Well, this thing's move pool, it has access to Aromatherapy, Drop Kick to guarantee lower their attack. This has access to Endeavor, Facade, High Jump Kick, Play Rough, Synthesis to heal itself, access to Rapid Spin to boost its speed. This gets access to Triple Axle. It's got phenomenal bulk. Slap an Assault Vest on this thing and it just chews hits. Being weak to Ice, Flying, and Fire is amazing. Oh, and Bug. But the fact that you get coverage to hit all those types you're weak to is amazing. This thing still hits like a truck even when you run max bulk with no attack invest. So the thing's just amazing. These two pair together is amazing, especially if I have a Comfey matchup. Comfey can't Draining Kiss my ×4 Urshifu and completely shuts Comfey down, so it forces it to not run Triage, which allows Poison Jab to potentially one-hit KO Comfey, for example. What was I gonna say? But yeah, that's why I have Serena. Next round is where it starts to get spicy. People started dipping into their free points. Meanwhile, I grabbed Tier 2 Crobat to be able to have Inner Focus, allowing me not to be able to be flinched. This also gets access to Infiltrator. This gets access to Tailwind, Heat Wave, Brave Bird, Hurricane, Hypnosis by Egg Move, which is insane. I believe Hypnosis becomes incredibly accurate in Gravity. So that could be a play to make if I'm able to get one of those later on in the draft, Amon with Gravity, to allow none of these moves to miss. But Crobat also gets access to Toxic, I believe, which could be very crucial. This, I believe it gets access to Defog as well to eliminate my opponent's screens, or Infiltrator to just go right past them and hit them for full damage. Same with Urshifu. It goes through screens because it crits with Wicked Blow. And then round 4, I decided, you know what? Let's grab Persephone. This has Beast Boost and access to Mind Blown. Helping Hand into Specs Mind Blown can potentially nuke the field if they don't have an Assault Vest, a Sash, or a Flash Fire, or if they just naturally resist it. But even then, a Water type with a Specs Helping Hand boosted Mind Blown is still going to take close to 50%, which is insane. Especially if it kills the rest of the field next to it, which is also insane. This also gets access to Shadow Ball. I believe it gets access to Poltergeist as well. There is a physical set out there for this. This gets access to Will-O-Wisp to be annoying. Granted, it's a little weak to Sucker Punch, which is mainly why I have Serena to shut off like a Cell Rock and Sucker Punch that would kill this. These two next to each other, slap a vest on her, she potentially can live the Mind Blown, but my opponent takes a massive hit, and then Serena follows up. So if they don't prioritize this thing as a threat, Blacephalon just can become an absolute nuke, which is fun. And if it kills something, it gets a special attack boost, which means it's a damage spiral that could be absolutely amazing for certain matchups. It's risky to use, but that risk is something I enjoy doing, just like having Urshifu with a ×4 weak to Fairy, or Crobat with not the best bulk in the world. One good psychic move and this thing just dies. Next round, I decided let's get Swampert. Access to Stealth Rocks, Yawn, Muddy Water, Icy Wind, excellent at support, very bulky, gives me speed control with Bulldoze and Icy Wind, which is amazing if I'm not able to do Tailwind. This also gets Flip Turn to launch a massive hit, get itself out of danger, and then bring a switch in that resists, like, say, a Grass move or a Freeze Dry that wants to target this. It's just speedy enough in Tailwind to outspeed most teams while investing in bulk and offense, so it's going to hit very, very hard, both on the physical and special side. Especially with access to Surf, Scald, and Earth Power, Swampert can actually do some damage. And then I got Gotharia, because why not? Let's trap things in a situation where they can't get out of. Eviolite, Gotharia next to Blacephalon. If they don't run Pivot, Blacephalon just sits there and nukes them. And this potentially lives the Mind Blown, which is insane. So, if I potentially nuke their both the other side of the field, because Gotharia says, no, you can't leave, well then that's a +2 boost to Blacephalon, which is absolutely insane. I believe Gotharia also gets access to Screens, Trick Room, to do a power mode with Swampert. I can run -speed, take advantage of that, run Yawn, and have people either switch or fall asleep. She can also, I believe, run Cosmic Power, boost herself. She has Swagger and Confide, I believe, to boost my own allies at the cost of Confusion, which also could be a play, especially with Urshifu, which can be absolutely broken because a crit's damage multiplies with boosts, which is insane. So she's here. And then I grab the little pink demon itself. Wigglytuff. Wanna know why it's a demon? This gets competitive, which threatens my opponents that have only Intimidate for an ability. This compared next to Trick Room Gotharia can be a nuke itself. This gets access to Pain Split, counter, I believe access to screens as well, access to Stealth Rocks. This gets access to Perish Song, which some weeks I might run, some weeks, well, I'll probably rarely run it because it's kind of a little bit of a dick move to just Perish Song your opponent when he has 2 mons left and you're up 3 or 4 to 2, because they can't switch out, and if you're able to stall it out, your opponent just loses because the Pokemon just faint. Not really my style to do, but I will do it if that's what the matchup needs. But that's Little Demon for round 7. I believe it also gets access to T-Wave as well, so it can just be annoying. This speed, if you look at it, team, if you look at it, it's just nothing but speed control. And then we get to my fake out user, Lightning Rod Pikachu. You pair this next to Crobat, it gets spicy because they can't even target Crobat. And I get a boost. And then Tailwind activates, and now you got a Pikachu just spamming a +1 move into something. And if it's not bulky enough, Pikachu can potentially kill it because Light Ball is a thing, which doubles my attack and special attack, plus the +1 boost in special attack. This gets access to Surf, Grass Knot, Draining Kiss, Discharge on the special side, and on the physical side it gets Fake Out, Extreme Speed, Volt Tackle, Nuzzle to paralyze my opponent. And if I want better speed control, I get access to Electro Web, which hits both opponents, lowering their speed, which is amazing. This also gets access to Feint, which breaks Protect, which also applies pressure to my opponent, because if they're in a position where they have to absolutely protect, I just Feint, break it, and then I just attack through, and it just wastes their turn. Next, we got a second fake out user, and because I wanted a steel type that was fun with Tough Claws, I got Berserker. This gets Iron Head, Close Combat, Play Rough, I believe Rock Slide as well. I'd have to double check that. Probably should have looked before this, but this thing also just applies so much pressure. It's slow, but when you have Tailwind, this thing can become incredibly annoying because you run Slight Speed Invest, Max Attack, and HP. Now this thing's hitting 200 to 215 speed because you're averaging about 100 to 110. when you run the speed invest, which is insane for a steel type that's also bulky. This thing can also run assault vest to give a buff to its low speed F because it's a steel type. So this thing can actually just hammer away at things. Granted, it's mostly physical, like half my team so far, potentially. But hey, I like it. It's going to be fun to use. And I just want to see how much damage it actually can do in VGC for a low tier mon. Round 10, I got Dreadgun. This gets access to Rough Skin, Sheer Force, and Mold Breaker. So I can damage my opponent that like to run multi-hit moves with Rough Skin 1 week. I can run Sheer Force, which boosts damage, but cancels out the secondary effects. Or I can run Mold Breaker and just completely bypass Levitate, Flash Fire, Volt Absorb, and Water Absorb. This bypasses that, which is amazing. Dreadgun gets access to a wide variety of physical and special moves. It even gets access to the move Glare, which paralyzes ground types, potentially, which is amazing. Access to Gunk Shot, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Scale Shot, Bulldoze, Rock Slide, all of those moves boosted by Sheer Force. It even gets access to Flamethrower as well. Thunderfang. It gets access to Stealth Rocks. Gets access to Sucker Punch for when I need that Dark type stab for teams that are running heavy Trick Room with Ghosts. It even gets access to Dragon Tail to bounce out anything that's not a fairy that sets up on my opponent's side, which I will most likely wait to see if they do in game 1, and if I know they're going to do it game 2, I will just bounce them out, which is amazing. But to round out the team for Season 2, I got the final Gambit master himself, Aselgor. This also gets access to Spikes, T-Spikes, Water Shuriken. This gets access to Knockoff, Struggle Bug, Bug Buzz, I believe Endeavor as well. But the fact that it is on Burden punishes terrain teams because I just bring it in with the seed of the team and I get a free double speed, which means I outspeed most Scarfers on their team now, and I can just launch off a Gambit, which is only stopped if they're Ghost type or they protect or any variant of that move. But say they're sashed, well then I suicide for nothing. But max HP Excelgor, I believe, I haven't looked at this in a while, but I think it's 187 damage guaranteed to an opponent, which is pretty good because there's a lot of things that aren't non-Uber that just die to this. There's a few things that have more HP than a Selgor, but it forces my opponent to run a lot of bulk and HP to just not die to Final Gambit. But that's not going to be the play every week because I can also use it as support, which is going to be absolutely amazing. But that wraps up the team. I look forward to this season Best of luck to everybody else this season. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and enjoy the team. Peace.